Hey, how are we doing? This is Bob Guns bringing you Concern Forum. And let me say at the beginning, uh, as you see this on YouTube, if you could give a little check mark and also take the time to put down your opinions about what you feel about this evening's show. It's funny, I got so many notes here, but that's because unfortunately we have so much bullshit taking place in America today that oh God, will I be able to cover all this? Well, let's see. Now, I tell you something that struck me as really strange. I found out today. Do you know that Steve Bannon, Trump's alter ego from the first Trump administration, that this guy was getting advice on how to handle the political situation from guess who? Epstein. Yes, sir, Bob, back in 2018. Yep. So, what do we have to say about that? What can you say about that? Now, it should be quite obvious by Trump's behavior that he was deeply involved in this whole thing. And I think that it's a damn detestable shame that this guy he has the opportunity to use the FBI, the Justice Department to try and browbeat Congress people into not signing the bill to make the Epstein files public. I mean, who in the hell do Trump and these people think they are? And I tell you, when I see that term MAGA, what is that? Is that synonymous with stupidity? Listen, working class white American brothers and sisters, you've been had, okay? Just like Latino brothers and sisters who voted for Trump have been had. Um, Black men primarily. You didn't find too many black women silly enough to go out and vote for Donald Trump, but you have been had also. And I don't understand why people just, hey, man, we got screwed. It's as simple as that. This guy, it just amazes me here in America that people are so dense. Um, I don't mean to be disrespectful. But right now, I came over here in June. Here is Uganda in Africa. And Winston Churchill, I believe, called Uganda the Pearl of Africa. And it is. It's a very beautiful country. And it's also like a crossroads for Central, and Southern, and Eastern Africa. And so you come across all kinds of folks, Americans. It seems like there's more Americans coming over here every day. A lot of Brits, uh, a lot of Chinese, right? Some French and some, Germans, and they all look at the United States like, what the hell happened to these guys? And if you haven't noticed, you don't have a tourism industry in the United States anymore because people, they stopped coming. Now, even though most of the people that ICE beats upon and kidnaps away are brown and dark people, still, people from Western Europe, for example, who would ordinarily be coming over here as tourists, they're not comfortable, okay? Americans, we have this thing, we can just watch people be beaten to death in the street by so-called law enforcement, but it's most of the rest of the world has kind of a different mindset. Okay, and this is what this is what Trump and MAGA have done to the United States. Nobody wants to come here. Seriously, the last people who really wanted to come here, and you're beating the living daylights out of them, throwing them in concentration camps, or just making them disappear, and that is primarily uh, Latinos and people from Haiti. But no regular country, and when I say regular, I'm talking about so-called uh, Western standards. They don't want to come here anymore. The kind of people that America needs as tourists and as investors, who wants to come to a nut house? And see, that's what Trump and MAGA have turned America into. And the sad thing is that Trump, his cabinet, the programs that they come out with, uh, the economic programs, the people that they hurt the most are white, working class people who voted for him. And that is the ironic thing about this whole bullshit. The people that you say were your friends, your supporters, you hurt them the most. Or is it that like that old song, was it you always hurt the one you love? I guess so. Because apparently that's what's happening in the United States. And the violence, you have a rise of in violence everywhere. It's not just the black community and the blue city. No, man. No. You got a rise in crime, violent crime. You have a rise in suicide, right? Marriage breaking up, people having to live in their cars. Uh, this is the crap that Trump has brought to America. And you see a lot of working class white folks and farmers and what have you say, well, I didn't vote for this. Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did. You just didn't want to pay, many of y'all just didn't want to pay attention. See, because all you heard was, yeah, we're going to throw out the dark immigrants because they're all criminals. And when you heard that, your brain just cut off and you didn't hear anything else. Now, I'm not going to get into this thing. I said this the other night. I'm not going to get into this thing about, Kamala Harris versus Joe Biden, versus Barack Obama, versus the staffs of Biden and Harris and Obama. I'm not getting into that. I'm not going to go into those weeds. But I will tell you quite frankly, she said she accurately predicted just about every damn thing that has happened since January. She told us what would happen if Trump was allowed to go back into the White House. And unfortunately, she was right. I want somebody to point out to me where she was wrong because America, it's going through hell. And these people that talk about, oh, well, we have to send the National Guard here, there, because of the crime. Hey, when you got poor people, hungry people, I don't care what color they are, you're going to have crime. And that's something that a lot of Americans, they just don't want to understand that. Okay? It's just like Victorian England. The poor areas had high crime rates because poverty turns people into criminals. Now, I know a lot of folks out there don't want to accept that, but it's true. Okay, it is true. And see, this is what we have allowed to happen here in America. While we argue about bullshit, where we have people like Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, arguing about the what they call the Jewish menace, all this crazy shit, frankly. Now I understand. Um, yes, America is too tied at the hip to Israel. They're so tied to the hip that when Israel commits war crimes, the American elite is like they don't want to see it. Rest of the world sees it, but our elites don't want to see it, and that is a problem because what's going on in Gaza is wrong. You don't do people like that. Thousands upon thousands. And what is that black guy, that nincompoop, what's his name, Van Jones, making jokes about dead Palestinian babies? Come on, look, Van, everybody knows that you are a Sambo commando, right? Oh, what I mean by that? Well, I'm one of those enlightened blacks. I don't say Uncle Tom anymore because I took the time to do the research. Come to find out that Uncle Tom was really a good guy. He was an honorable man. You could say a bit naive, but he was a good man. The real sneaky bastard was the slave called Sambo. And when I see people like Van Jones and Candace Owens and Stephen Smith, folks like that, I basically think of Sambo. So I call these people Sambo Commandos, right? Because they go out there and they talk and they raise hell, thinking that they're being of service to the ruling class. And in most cases, they really make damn fools out of themselves. And I'm really starting to have my doubts about what do they call that guy comes on the God something. Let me see, I had written it down too. Yeah, and I made a point too as I wrote how the media creates some of these a black these black folks, and they put them in the front seat, in the media, and these people don't know it really. They don't really know a damn thing, right? Just like Charlemagne the God. I mean, what the hell do they know? Were they ever in politics? Were they ever in the military? What did they, if they were in the military, what did they do? Do they understand what it's like to deal with foreign nationals on a regular basis? Do they understand top secret communications? Dealing with some of the things that we're talking about now in terms of Trump and how he seems to love to misplace top secret documents. That's what worries me. I mean, I'm happy to see any young brother or sister, yeah, going out on the media, right, fighting for justice. But I'm very leery about some of these people who get out there and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And I think that's the problem that you have. And I'm sorry to say that, but I have my doubts about Charlemagne the God. Okay. Now, something else I find real strange. MAGA and the right wing, or I guess they're all the same, MAGA, right wing, Ku Klux Klan, all these clowns, right? They always talk about, well, Democrats are too much into identity politics. Well, my question is why is identity politics. It seems to be okay for people like Tucker and Fuentes and what other guy, Walsh. I can't think of his first name, but folks like that. They talk, oh, well, white genocide, the Great Replacement theory. If that's not ethnic politics, identity politics, I don't know what the hell it is. But see, what bothers me about that, with them, it's just politics in their minds. Okay? But as soon as black or brown are involved, then suddenly it becomes identity politics. Don't you find that a bit strange? Listen, that's not going to solve our problems. And I think that America really needs to understand something. As a nation, we are really screwed up. Okay? Now I've been out here for a while, right? I'm not 14 years old, obviously. And I haven't seen a country like this. I don't think I ever have. And yeah, I went all through the 60s and the early 70s. And yeah, it was rough. Uh, People, especially people fighting for justice, were killed. Houses were blown up. But there was a feeling of hope in the air. And right now, I don't see that. As a matter of fact, the closest thing I have seen to hope is what happened last week on the election with Mamdani and with the other, Democrats across the country. That's the closest that I've seen to hope. And I say again and again, the American people, you need to really get your act together, number one. And number two, you got to figure out just what you want to do. Do you want to continue the so called democratic experiment? Do you want everyone to be able to participate in this democratic experiment? Do you want to, like most and MAGA and the right wing wish to do you want to build a wall around America and keep everyone out? Now, I am no fan. I was no fan of Ronald Reagan, but he did have one or two good points. And this whole idea about basically cutting America off and stopping people from coming over here. And he said something to the effect. Now he said this his last year in the White House. But yeah, he did say this. That when America turns her back on immigration, and please, I don't hear this bullshit about, oh well, legal immigration, okay, that's crap. Okay? That is crap. That basically is like a cover word. What's his name? That senator from what's that uh state that's falling apart? Arkansas. Cotton. Yeah, Tom Cotton, I believe. He slipped not too long ago. And he said he basically had a problem with legal immigration because he said he was scared that the American culture would be diluted. Now, I'd like to know what the hell he meant by that. Because what's American culture? Jazz? Cowboys? Ah! And who were the first cowboys? Latinos from south of the water. So I want to know what the hell culture is he talking about? If it wasn't for black folks, you really wouldn't have no culture in America. So when you say that you don't want immigrants coming here because you're scared that somehow they will mess with America's culture, what you're saying is that you don't want people who are darker than you, which is funny because Hell, you stole the country from people that were darker than you. So, what's the beef? See? But that's okay because another thing I don't like about this whole anti-immigration thing is that you play these games. People like Cotton and MAGA and Trump, the Klan, they play these games. Give you an example. What in the hell are we doing? What in the hell is the United States doing killing people in Venezuela? Or I should say off the coast of Venezuela. In the first place, no damn small boat is going to try and bring a load of fentanyl or drugs from the coast of Venezuela all the way to South Florida. That's the first thing. Second thing, Venezuela is not known for being a big uh, narcotics trans shipping port. Okay, everybody knows that. So I think the ulterior motive is that you don't like the people in charge in Venezuela. Now, I don't know, maybe I might agree with you because I don't like any dictatorship, right? But by the same token, I don't have the right to go into that country and start killing people because I don't like the president of that country. I mean, suppose somebody try to pull that bullshit on the United States. I'm gonna let that one hang in the air, okay? But I wonder, all you good Americans from out there in the heartland, are you prepared for your sons and daughters to come back in body bags from Venezuela? You need to ask yourself that question. Are we ready to perhaps hit the tripwire leading to a thermonuclear war? Is that, well, are you ready for that? I know I sure as hell ain't. And why is it? See, this is the thing that mystifies. Now, I did some time in the Army, but most of my active duty service was with the Navy. And both before and after, uh, I was stationed in D.C. at the White House, Pentagon. Before I got there, I was in a carrier, USS Nimitz. And 5 years later, I left the DC area and I was assigned to a fighter squadron out of Jacksonville, Florida, of all places, that flew off of the old USS Saratoga. And especially when I was on the Nimitz, we did a lot of, stop and searches, right, in the Caribbean. And that's exactly what it was, stop and search. Right? Right now I think we have the biggest navy in the world. So you mean to tell me that a couple of destroyers or frigates could not run down a little speedboat or fishing craft and hey, stop and be searched? That's all it takes. Why is it necessary to kill those people? Now you had an admiral, what's his name? Holman? He was head of Southern Command, right? He resigned and he retired because he did not like what was going on, and I think that was a wise move. Um, I guess he could have just disobeyed the order, but I don't know. Maybe it's more effective the way he did this because now he can be called up to testify. See, because he didn't want to be, he didn't want to hang around so he would be accused of war crimes. He was not going to give Trump the opportunity to throw him under the bus. And he did the right thing. He took it up the chain of command and say, hey, look, this is, this is crazy. There's no evidence to go around killing these people. And when they didn't agree with him, he said, okay, boom, I'm out of here. I mean, what the hell? You already put in like 38 years. Highly capable, highly competent. He was a four-star black admiral. Okay. So number one, I know he got some stories he could tell us. Number one. Number two, trust me, you become a four-star admiral in the Navy, a black guy, believe me, he had his stuff together. No way in hell he didn't. In spite of what people like, what's that drunk probably Secretary of Defense? I'm not saying Secretary of War. If Congress wants to call it the Secretary of War, fine. Until that time, he's the Secretary of Defense. Uh, him and Trump and those other assholes in his cabinet that talk about, oh, we're against woke and DEI. Well, guess what? You don't rise to four stars in either the Army, Navy, or Marine Corps or Air Force uh, without being A1 squared away. Believe me. And I guess that's why this brother resigned, because he was that squared away. And I know that he's well versed in the Constitution and military law. And he said, I don't want no parts of this. They're not gonna, they're not gonna send me to Nuremberg. See? And I'm proud of him for doing that, for having principles, which is something that you don't hardly ever see in any group of people who surround Donald Trump. Okay, you hang out with him, you take your honor and you stick it somewhere, right? It's not it's not an honorable game anytime Trump is involved. There's no honor involved. No honor need apply. Okay, but it's a damn shame. I think of those guys on the boats being slaughtered like that. There's going to be a reckoning. There will be a reckoning. But don't come out in the dark. We'll come out in the light. And there will be a reckoning. But, he seems like he's trying to pull the same. And this is so freaking outrageous. He wants to attack Nigeria, and because he claims that Christians are being killed and harassed and what have you. Well, if you knew any damn thing about Nigeria, they have a problem with the Boko Haram. And see, the thing is that those guys, they kill everybody. They have killed buku Muslim villages, right, as well as Christian villages. So they do have a problem. But I believe that that problem is for Nigeria to solve. I give you an example. Just supposing, in the 50s and 40s, you had, well, it would be nice, it would be an African nation, but it didn't have to be any nation, right? That said to the United States, listen, you are lynching too many black people over there. That's terrible. If you don't stop killing all these, innocent black people, we're going to send a special action team into the United States, and we're going to bring fire and smoke. Like I say, it would have been nice. There would probably have been a whole lot less lynchings. But that, countries don't do that kind of bullshit to each other. See? And I would hope that Nigeria would have the balls to defend themselves against any foreign intruder. like that. But see, Trump, I don't know if it's because he's desperate to try and get away from the whole Epstein thing. And now I worry because that thing is supposed to come out in the House of Rep next week. See? So I would say to American people, beware, beware, because believe me, Trump, he has no compulsion, he has no qualms about sending your kid to Venezuela or to Nigeria to get blown to bits and have to come back in the body bag just to take the American mind off of Epstein. So I would seriously suggest that what Americans need to do, maybe start a petition drive, essentially saying, look, we're not going to forget about this Epstein thing. We know that you're involved. So please don't send our sons and daughters to war because you think that that's going to be, serve as a distraction for your misdeeds with Epstein. I think that that's something that's quite necessary. Um, just one or two other things that really I find so upsetting. We have a situation. Listen, Indian Americans. I'm talking about people from India, right? I've known quite a few in my time, and on the whole, I find them to be very intelligent, very nice people, very nice people. Unfortunately, there's a small group that, for some reason, they felt that their pathway to the American dream, especially if they wanted to get like in the, meet the media, uh, things of that nature, then I guess they felt that, well, we'll just say negative things first about Black Americans, and secondly about Latino Americans. Now you have to remember that one of the great downsides to the United States is that people, a certain type of people, enjoy having Black Americans and Latinos to essentially kick around, to use as a doormat. Okay. Um, Frederick Douglass spoke about that because at that time we were dealing with a large amount of Irish immigrants coming to America. And also, at that time, Frederick Douglass was on the run from his former slave master because he had gotten involved in the abolitionist movement, making speeches. And so, his former masters, they want, hey, get this guy back because he belongs to me. See? So Fred's friends had to help him get overseas to Britain and Ireland uh, while they had to work to literally buy Frederick's freedom. See? And so he had a chance to go to Ireland and he found the country beautiful. He found the people's music to be beautiful. And he said that the way that the Irish sang was so spiritual, it reminded him of the way that Black American slaves sang on the plantations. And he said it stirred his soul, just like he was, back on the plantation somewhere. And his whole thing about Ireland was that they were a people that were oppressed and that they were beautiful human beings. And then they come to America, and the first word they learn is nigger. See, and America seems to have that effect on people, on immigrants. You hear stories about, oh, well, they tell immigrants, you got to stay away from black people because they're thieves and they steal and they're rapists. Huh? Sounds familiar, huh? Hmm. But see, Indian Americans, you have to remember that they are relatively newcomers on the American scene. And as someone said, I was listening to the other day, uh, they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for black Americans because of the civil rights movement. Because in 64, 65, along with other demands of the civil rights movement, there was a big push to make the immigration system in this country a more, how should I say, people from non-Western European countries should have more of an opportunity to immigrate to the United States. And that was because of Martin Luther King. Now, a few of these Indian Americans basically they decided that we are going to sell ourselves to the white racists, or what we call MAGA, right? KKK, what have you. So basically, what they decided to do was to dump on the people that made it possible for them to come here in the first place. I mean, I'm talking about people like Dinesh D'Souza. I'm talking about that guy that could never get his damn name right. He's running for governor in Ohio. Then, let's see now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, where did I put that guy's name? Well, Dinesh D'Souza, okay, we know about him. And the former governor of South Carolina, Nikki Haley. Now, she trips me out because when her parents first came here, no one would give her father a damn job. He had to go and work at his, at historic black college to teach because none of the white universities or the white schools would give this guy a job. And yet, what happens? She gets into politics in South Carolina and she decides to become such a right winger. See? And this guy that I'm talking about was running for governor in Ohio. He has an interview with a white female author, and she tells him, oh, well, I love everything that you say, but I couldn't vote for you because you're Indian. You're not a white American man. And so now the Indian Americans and I know some people call these type of black people raccoons. As I said, I call them Sambo commandos. They're shocked, just like our Latino brethren were shocked. There's racism in the Republican Party. There's racism with MAGA. Well, glory be. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that a party that has become a cult figure, a cult organization, bowing the knees to one man, and this man started off his campaign for president by talking about these dark people from across the border in Mexico who are rapists, murderers, and thieves. Like America has never seen Caucasian murderers and thieves. How interesting. But see, this is kind of insanity that is taking place in today's America. And I tell you quite frankly, I am so happy, I cannot say enough how Democrats performed in this past election. But it's going to take a lot more than that. I think Americans are going to have to really sit down and evaluate their thinking and ask themselves, do you really want to have a democratic nation? Because if you're going to have a democracy, everyone has a right to participate. You know, I saw these stupid kids. What is that? Turning Point? That's like a junior branch of the KKK. And they're attacking this guy. It's Venezuela, I believe his name is. The guy running for governor. They're attacking this guy, saying, "Well, you're a Hindu, and the people that you want to be governor for are Christian." What the hell does that got to do with anything? These people claim to love America so much and love the Constitution so much. Apparently, they don't read it. It says right there in the first 10 amendments, Congress shall make no law calling for any type of religious verification to run for public office. It says it right there in black and white. But that's the first thing these little demons come up with. And the sad thing is, for all their chest thumping and bleating about their Christianity, here in America, these people are the most unchristian Christian folks you ever want to meet. I mean, if they saw the real Jesus Christ in the flesh, they'd try to have him deported. So that's what I say. We have kind of, America to a large extent, we have lost our damn minds. We have decided to hop on the bicycle and ride backwards. And quite frankly, until Americans get their head on straight, I don't think that this country's not going to be any damn good. America's not going to be any damn good for Americans or for anyone else. And yeah, I'm a globalist because I live, or excuse me, I did live, and I am an American, right? Which is a country on planet Earth. Okay? So the whole planet is my purview. If somebody's poisoning the environment uh, in Latin America or Asia, that concerns me. Now that might seem a bit, I don't know, ahead of my time, but it's real. If we don't understand that the basic precepts to being a democracy is justice for everybody. Remember what you recited when you were a kid? And justice for all? If we as a nation, if we can't follow through with that, then this whole idea of America is a joke. Truly, a dangerous joke. Because we're like the big muscle-bound athlete who has the brain the size of a peanut. See? And that's dangerous. Even when America was living wrong, I think that we had more sense than what we have now, what I see now. We put a guy in the White House to, quote, be the leader of the free world. And this guy is running so damn scared because of his sexually deviant past coming out that, he's freaking out in the White House. And see, I'm not a prude. I don't really give a damn how people live their sex lives. But see, the problem with this whole Epstein thing is the fact that you took advantage of underage people. And that's wrong. That's damn wrong. And I wonder if you would have liked someone to do that to your daughter. Mhm. So, in the meantime, this is going to be a short one. Uh, I hope that you all will, consider what I said. because we're coming to that time of reckoning. Either you believe in America and what it's supposed to stand for, or you just blowing hot air. It's that simple. Listen, folks, thank you very much for inviting me into your homes and taking the time to hear us out. And we'll be back. And this is Bob Gumbs with Concerned Forum. Stay alert, keep reading, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.